Sukihonchu and good evening to ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dhammadana series brought to you by Buddhist Mahavihara Malaysia. Today's session is also live on TBCM FB. Do subscribe to our FB for more information. The topic for tonight is Rebirth, Fact or Myth by Pandit Professor Mori Golalama Uparathana Thero. A brief background of Pandey. Pandey Dr. Uparathana Thero was ordained as a novice at the age of 12 at, at the Sri Buddhikararama Mahavihara, Sri Lanka. He received his higher ordination at the age of 20 and has since then devoted himself to the expansion of intellectual development of Sangha community globally. He understood that to be a global Dharma teacher, he has to be fluent in a few languages. He then took upon himself to study English and Mandarin, and he is now fluent in Sinhala, Pali, English, and Mandarin. Pandey is currently the Dean of the Faculty of Graduate Studies, Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka, and has served in many other capabilities of university in Sri Lanka and also at the University of Wuhan, China. He has also been sought to present many research papers at many local and international symposiums and conferences. Without further ado, let's invite Bante to join us in our session. Good evening, Bante.
Hey, good evening.
I shall hand over the session to you now.
Okay, thank you. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajase Sunantu Sagga Mukkadang Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Sabbi Satta Marissanti Maranam Tanhi Jivitam Yatha Kammang Gamissanti Punya Papa Palupaga Nirayang Papa Kammanta Punya Kamma Cha Suggating Tasma Kareya Kalyanang Nichayang Samparayikang Punyani Paralokasmin Patitha Honti Paninanti. Good evening, dear Dhamma friends. Today I am going to give a Dhamma talk. Today the topic is rebirth, myth or fact? Before I am starting my Dhamma sermon, I would like to thank Mr. Leslie and Ms. Ga Yi, who is inviting me for this Dhamma sermon and organizing this valuable event. On the other hand, I would like to thanks to Venerable Incumbent Thero of Buddhist Mahavihara in Malaysia. I think actually we are a little bit fortunate enough because before we start this Dhamma sermon, here power cut, and now also there is no power. Fortunately, I use my handphone light. If not, you can't see me. On the other hand, for my Wi-Fi also have no power. Fortunately, I have a little bit charger. That is why I am using my computer. If not, today also, this time also, I can't give Dhamma talk. I don't know how long I have the battery of my computer. and how long I can use my Wi-Fi charger battery also. I don't know how long it remains, but I try my best to give this Dhamma talk. I think very clearly you can't see me because here the light, no light. Dear friends, today we are going to talk about the basic teachings of the Buddha. Is rebirth myth or fact? Actually, so the Buddha's teaching is not the rebirth is myth or fact, but we know in Buddhism, the Buddha's teaching is this basic teaching is about rebirth. So the Buddha preached what happened to us after we die in this very life. As we are Buddhist, we know very well that after death we will be born into different states according to our past karma, so which we have accumulated in our life. But we know not only Buddhist people, even in non-Buddhist people also do not believe in the existence of rebirth because no one can remember the past lives of them. That is why they don't believe about the rebirth. On the other hand, they believe the theistic religions also, they don't believe about rebirth. But as we are Buddhist, we believe the karma. That is why we talk about the rebirth. So we know our Buddha, he fulfilled 30 perfections for achieving Sambuddha, Buddhahood. He wanted to know why we are sojourning in this samsara, why we suffer a lot. So he understood why we become old age, why we become decay, why we die, and why we are sojourning in this samsara. He wanted to find the reason for this. Therefore, he tried his best to understand this. Then he could understand the reason for this is we are sojourning in the samsara. We born again and again. We die again and again in this samsara. That is why. So Buddha wanted to find the reason for this. After Buddha achieving the Samma Sambuddha, he delivered Dhamma 45 years, explaining the reality of the world, the nature of the world. Uh, First of all, I continue my Dhamma talk. I would like to pay your attention to the meaning of the stanza which I delivered at the very beginning of this Dhamma sermon, because it is very useful to understand today's our topic. So I delivered stanza delivered by Buddha to King Kosala. So this is mentioned in Sutta Pitaka Sanyutta Nikaya Sagataka Vagga Kosala Sanyutta. So you know the Sutta Pitaka means the basket of discourses. There is one Nikaya called Sanyutta Nikaya. So there is one chapter called Sagataka Vagga. In that chapter, there is another small chapter named Kosala Sanyutta. In Kosala Sanyutta, there is one sutta. So the Buddha delivered this Dhamma talk or discourses to King Kosala. So I recite the stanza delivered by Buddha to King Kosala explaining this topic, explaining this matter. Sabbe satta marissanti maranantang hi jivitang yata kammang gamissanti punya papa palupaga. So this stanza delivered to King Kosala. So I would like to pay you attention to the meaning of this stanza. So according to that, so it is mentioned sabbe satta marissanti. All beings die. Maranantanghi jivitang. The death is the end of life. Yatha kammang gamissanti punya papa palupaga. So they go according to their actions of karma, as merit and demerits bear fruits. Doing demerit, one goes to one goes to hell and doing merit goes to heaven. Therefore, do good, accumulating for the world, merit established being in the next world. So when we discuss this topic, we have to pay attention the basic teachings of the Buddha, such as karma theory, dependent origination, three characteristics of existence, etc. So the Buddha has delivered why we are still sojourning in the samsara. So what is the reason we are being born again and again in this samsara? So the everyone know according to Buddhism. So we are sojourning in the samsara because of the cankers. So as we are Buddhist, we wish to destroy, to eliminate all the cankers, by eliminating, by destroying all the cankers to achieve Nibbana. As we are Buddhists, we know there are root causes starting from Tanha. Therefore, we are Buddhists, believe we are sojourning in the samsara because of cankers such as Tanha, etc. So, until we achieve Nibbana by destroying all these cankers, we will be born again and again this samsara. Therefore, we are called, this is a sancharik journey. This is our sancharik journey. We are being born again and again, we die again and again. In one place, I can remember, so the Buddha delivered like this. I would like to recite that Pali phrase. Chatunnam bhikkave arya satchanam ananubodha appati evamidan dhigamaddanam sansarang sandhavitan sansaritan mamancha tumha kancha. So what is the meaning of this Pali phrase? So the Buddha mentioned to monks. So the Buddha says like this: "O monks, by not knowing and realizing of Four Noble Truth." So you know what is Four Noble Truth: the suffering, the cause of suffering, the annihilation of suffering, the path leading to annihilation of suffering. So this is the thing. So the Buddha understood when he achieved the Buddhahood. So the Buddha mentioned monks, by not knowing and realizing Four Noble Truths, a long distance of this samsara, we have run and wandered, me and you. So the Buddha mentioned you and me running this samsara because not knowing and understanding the Four Noble Truth. So that means, in his very first sermon, so the Buddha very clearly explained what is Four Noble Truth. What is Four Noble Truth? On the other hand, in that sutta, Buddha very clearly explained the Four Noble Truth also means the dependent origination. Dependent origination, cause and effect. Because of cause, there is an effect. When there is no cause, not cause, there is no effect like that. So that is the dependent origination. In the Four Noble Truth also, Buddha explained that very clearly. I would like to pay attention. In another place, the Buddha made the famous statement to explain the nature of the long samsara. Nature of this long samsara. So the Buddha mentioned, Anamataggoyam bhikkave sansaro pubbha kotina panyayati. Avidya nivaranam satthanam tanha sanyojanam sandhavitam sansaram. So Buddha has mentioned very clearly to the bhikkhus, this rebirth process has no evidence, no panyayati, beginning. So the Buddha mentioned there is no evidence of this samsara. I think as we are Buddhists, so you know very well, there is the famous sutta of Digha Nikaya that is called Agganya Sutta. So in the Agganya Sutta, some scholars believe, some people believe, so the Buddha has preached in that sutta the beginning of the samsara. Some says no, not the beginning of the samsara, the beginning of the world. So I would like to say here, I would like to mention here, in the Agganya Sutta, the Buddha didn't explain the beginning of the samsara or beginning of the world. So in that sutta, Buddha has mentioned very clearly the already started, already began world. So the Buddha has very clearly mentioned not the origin of the human being, not the origin of the world. So the Buddha has talked about the already originated world, already originated being. But Buddha has mentioned very clearly this rebirth process is no evidence of beginning. There is no evidence of beginning because we are coming very long journey. We are coming a very long journey. We are going very long journey. So the beings whose minds are covered by ignorance are bound to this rebirth process with bounds of craving. So the Buddha has mentioned why we are sojourning in this samsara long time. What is the reason? No evidence of beginning because we are clinging to the rebirth process bond of with craving. So as we know, so the Buddha had the knowledge called divine eyes. That is called Dibba Chakku, which he has the able to see among other things, the survival of beings in various states of existence, the operation of karma, so the galactic system, the cluster of galactic system and other vast cosmos. So the Buddha had this knowledge that is called Dibba Chakku. Because of that knowledge, the Buddha can see when people die, where they go. So the Buddha can see this burning process, this birth process. He can understand, he can see because of that knowledge. So, according to Buddhism, dear Dhamma friends, we know according to Buddhism, there are 5 states of existence and 31 planes of existence that a person can be born again and again. Okay, so Buddha very clearly explained in various discourses there are the 5 states of existence and 31 planes of existence that person can be born again and again. So you know what are the 5 states. According to Buddhism, the lower world that is called Niraya, animal world that is called Tirachana, and the spirit world that is called Peta, then human beings or Manusa, and the higher beings Devas. So these are the places where we can be born again and again after we die. Okay, so Buddha's basic teaching is everything is impermanent. There is no permanent in this world. Everything is impermanent. Uh, whether we be born in the heaven, that place also impermanent. If we born in the human world, that place also impermanent. There we have to give up everything. Okay, so we can live a long time as a human being. We can live as a deva for a long time, but because those places also impermanent, therefore we have to be die again and again. We have to be born again and again until we achieve nibbana after destroying all the cankers. So when we talk about 31 planes of existence, we know there are senses world, the Kamaloka, there are 11 senses worlds and 6 heavens, and the 4 apayas and the Manusaloka belongs to this Kamaloka. And the fine material world, there are 16 Rupaloka, and there are immaterial world Arupaloka. There are 4 Arupalokas. So, according to Buddhism, all these places we divide into 2, the Sugati and Duggati. Sugati and Duggati. The Sugati means the happy states, happy planes, and the Duggati means the sorrowful states. So the Supreme Buddha had ability to see the passing away and the rebirth of beings according to their actions, the ability that is called Chutupapata Jnana. So, dear friends, sometimes you ask, after we die, what will happen? Such a question you can ask from me, but how I reply to very clearly to that question? Because why? I don't have such kind of knowledge. So I don't have such kind of knowledge. If I have the Chutupapata Jnana, I can explain you very clearly. I can explain you very clearly after one person die, after the death, what happened, where you go. Because that will happen according to the action, that will happen according to the karma accumulated by him in his life. Okay, if he accumulated, if he done bad things, bad karma, if he accumulated bad karma, he will be, according to our belief, we know he will be born in the misery places, unhappy states. If you have done the good actions, good karma, you will be born in the good places. But that is also happen according to the moment of the moment of the death. Okay, so that is called chuti chitta. According to the chuti chitta, the mind moment of the death, it will happen. So the rebirth linking also take into the moment of our death. So therefore, the Buddha has very clearly mentioned how this samsara the continue. How this samsara continue, the Buddha has very clearly mentioned. So I would like to recite one stanza. It is very famous. This is very useful to understand the how this samsara happens. So the Buddha has mentioned, Kamma vipaka vattanti. Vipako kamma sambhaho tasma punabbhavo hoti evang loke pavattati. So what is the meaning of this stanza? Kamma vipaka vattanti. The karma result proceeds from karma, and the result has karma as its source, further becoming. What is the meaning of this? Karma vipaka vantanti. There is effect of karma. There are effects of karma. Vipako karma sambhavo. Because of that effect, because of those effects, again accumulate karma. Tasma punabbhavo hoti. Because of that reason, the rebirth happened. Evang loke pavatati. This is how the world remains. Okay, so I think there is a very famous discourse delivered by Buddha that is mentioned in Digha Nikaya, long length discourses. That is called Mahanidana Sutta. In Mahanidana Sutta, the Buddha very clearly explained in brief dependent origination. Okay, so normally the general dependent origination, there are 12 limbs. There are 12 limbs, but in Mahanidana Sutta there are no 12 limbs. Okay, because the Buddha delivered this Mahanidana Sutta and dependent origination in very briefly. According to that, avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupang, nama rupa paccaya vijnana. Okay, so avidya means the ignorance. Okay, avidya paccaya sankhara, and because of ignorance we accumulate karmas. Okay, sankhara paccaya vijnana, because of that karma there is the consciousness. Because of that consciousness, nama rupa, the name and form. After name and form, again consciousness. Okay, we accumulate karma and we die. Again, nama rupa remains. Okay, after that we die. Again, conscious goes. Okay, so you can understand we die and consciousness goes, and again we will be born, again and again we die, again and again we will be born. So this is the idea of that Mahanidana Sutta dependent origination. So to understand this rebirth, so you can understand because of this tanha we are sojourning in the sansara. We will be born again and again. So when you read the Jataka stories of the Buddha, you can understand how long he tried to be a Buddha. He had to fulfill the 10 perfections, not only 10, maybe 12 and 20. On the other hand, it becomes 30 perfections, uncountable time, uncountable period he had to fulfill these perfections to achieve the Buddhahood, to attain the Nibbana. That is why he has very clearly mentioned, okay, as soon as he got the Buddhahood, okay, this is called the first Udana of the Buddha, because this Buddha didn't preach to anyone, he memorized by himself. He has mentioned, Aneka jati sansarang sandha vissang anibisang Gahakarkam gavesanto dukkha jati punappunam. Gahakarka dittosi punagehanna kahasi sabbate pasuka bagga gahakutang visankitang visankar gatan chittan tanhanam kaya majjaga. So this is the first udana uttered by Buddha himself. So very clearly he has mentioned through countless births in the cycle of existence I have run in vain seeking the builder of this house. What is the house? The house of samsara. Again and again I face the discomfort of new birth. Oh, householder, you are seen. You shall build no house for me again. All your rafters are broken. Your roof tree is destroyed. My mind has reached the unconditioned, unconditioned is nibbana. The end of craving has been attained. So by this stanza, the Buddha has very clearly explained rebirth is not a myth. The rebirth is not a myth. He has very clearly mentioned Aneka jati sansarang sandhavisang anibisang gahakarkang gave santo dukkha jati punapunang through countless births in the cycle of existence he has run. Okay, in vain seeking the builder of the house. The house means the builder of the sansara. Okay, so the finally he has mentioned, I destroyed everything of you. I destroyed everything of you. Now you can't again build a house. Okay, so you can very clearly understand by this stanza the rebirth is not a myth. That is a truth. Okay, so that is the topic of our today Dhamma sermon. Is rebirth myth or fact? Okay, so according to Buddhism, we can't ask such a question. According to Buddhism, we can't ask such a question. Rebirth is myth or fact. The rebirth is fact. Rebirth is truth. Therefore, we can't say it is a myth. Really, now we can understand because almost all the sutras the Buddha delivered by himself to explain this reality of the world, to explain the reality of the world. So, according to Buddhism, you know, almost all the religions talk about this matter. Not only Buddhism, even in the Hinduism and the Christianity, Islam, and other religions also talk about this matter, about rebirth or why we die and how whether we be born again and again. Such kind of questions raised by them, and they try to give the answers also. So I think the Buddha has rejected all the ideas given by other religions, especially theistic religions. You know, in the 6th century, when he was our Buddha was born in the 6th century. At that time, there were 62 heretical teachings in India. Heretical teachings is in India. When you read the discourses delivered by Buddha, especially for two Brahmin monks. So this sutta is mentioned in the Digha Nikaya, Sutta Pitaka Digha Nikaya. That is the first sutta of Sutta Pitaka. That is called Brahmajala Sutta. So in the Brahmajala Sutta of Digha Nikaya, it is mentioned there were 62 heretical teachings in India in the 6th century BC. Okay, so among those heretical teachings, the famous teachings were Sassatavada and Uchchedavada. On the other hand, there were another teachings. Okay, I would like to mention some teachings were in the 6th century. You know, the Pubbe Kata Hetuvada and Akiriyavada, Issara Nimmanavada, Aditya Samuppannavada, Ahetu Appachevada, and the Saptakayavada, Amara Vikkepavada. Okay, such kind of teachings were in the 6th century BC. So, among these teachings, there were two major extremes called Sassatavad and Uchchedavad. Okay, so between these two, what is called Sassatavad and Uchchedavad. So the Buddha or the Tathagata avoids these two extremes. Okay, so according to Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is mentioned etete ubho ante anupagamma majjena dhamman deseti. So our Buddha delivered the Dhamma without coming to these two extremes. What is called Sassatavada and Uchchedavada. So the practically the Sassatavada and Uchchedavada practically self-mortification and self-indulgence. So Buddha very clearly rejected, first of all, he rejected Sassatavada. The Sassatavada means there is the eternal entity. Eternal entity. So the Brahmana believes that the Brahman was the origin of the universe and mankind. Okay, so according to the Brahmana Isara Nimmanavada, so they thought the Mahabrahma is the originator or the creator of the world. Mahabrahma is the creator of the world. So there is an eternal entity, and that is permanent like that. So Buddha wanted to destroy this idea. According to Brahmajana Sutta, we can see the very clearly. Okay, so the sutta also translated as Brahmanet. Okay, so Buddha very clearly rejected this idea of Sassatavada. According to them, there is a soul, unchanged soul. There is the eternal entity. Also, that eternal entity goes to the Maha Brahma like that. Therefore, Buddha wanted to analyze this idea. Therefore, at the very beginning, he delivered the analytical method to destroy the idea of soul theory. So, therefore, Buddha preached the no soul theory. According to the Mahabrahman, they said there is an Atman. So the Buddha said there is no such kind of Atma, no soul. Therefore, Buddha's teaching is no soul theory. To reject, to destroy that idea, so the Buddha used the analytical theory. Buddha analyzed those things. So by analyzing what the Buddha analyzed, so the Buddha analyzed these five aggregates. Okay, so these five aggregates Buddha analyzed. So the Buddha said there is no Atman, only the name and form. Like this, he analyzed everything. Okay, so according to Brahmins, okay, so I mentioned you the Hinduism or the Brahmanism, they have mentioned very clearly the Brahmanosya Mukamasid, Brahurajanya Kruta, Uru Tadasya Dvaisyam, Padabhyam Shudro Ajayata, like that. So the Brahmins born from the mouth of the Mahabrahma. Bahurajanya Kruta, the kings were born from the shoulders of the Mahabrahma. Urtadasya Advaisyang, the Vaishyas, the farmers like that, farmers and vendors, they were born from the thigh of the Mahabrahma, and Padabhyam Shudro Ajayata. So the Shudras were born from the foot of the Mahabrahma like that. They have mentioned, so the world created by Mahabrahma and human being also created by Mahabrahma. So the Buddha rejected this idea. So the Buddha very clearly rejected this idea. Okay, so when you read the Aggañña Sutta, you can understand very well. You can understand very well the idea of the Mahabrahma, and so the idea of the Buddha. And another Vada is another extreme teaching was Uchchedavada. So according to that, according to the Uchchedavada, so we call nihilistic teachings. Okay, they thought after death there is nothing. After death, everything destroyed. Nothing comes. Okay, they said tan jivan tan sarirang. So after death, there is no further life, because when the body dies, the person also become extinct like that. Okay, therefore they taught to people yavat jivet sukhan jivet rinam katva gritam pibet bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kruta. Okay, so this is a verse from the Charvaka school or the Uchchedavadi school of the ancient materialist philosophy. So according to that stanza, it says you should live happily. You should live happily. Why? If you live in the present, So drink ghee even if you have no money. Okay, borrow money and eat ghee and live very happily. So after the cremation of the body, how it going to come back? So they have rejected the rebirth idea. Okay, so the Buddha rejected these two extremes. Buddha rejected these two extremes. Okay, to reject the Sassatavada, Buddha used analytical method, and so the Buddha mentioned there is no eternal entity, but there is something going change, going changing. There is something going to next life, but it is also not permanent. It is also changing like that. Okay, therefore, according to the Sammuti Satya, so the Buddha has mentioned there is a person, okay, there is entity like that. So the Buddha used compendium method, compendium method. So the Buddha used. Okay, so to understand this rebirth or the samsara, so we have to pay attention to the dependent origination. Okay, so dear Dhamma friends, I explained in brief before, but I would like to mention something again about dependent origination, because you can very clearly understand about this. Okay, so this dependent origination Buddha memorized, okay, at the time of he achieved Buddhahood. Okay, first portion of the night and the middle portion of the night and the last portion of the night. So the Buddha memorized this Paticamuppada. Okay, so the ascending order and the descending order and ascending and descending order. So the Buddha memorized this Paticamuppada or dependent origination. So he understood what he understood through birth, decay, death, lamentation, pain arises. Okay, a condition. When this is not, that is not. When this is not, that is not. This ceasing, that ceases. Through the complete cessation of ignorance, volitional activities or karmic formations cease. When the karmic formations cease, the volitional activities also cease. When the volitional activities cease, the ignorance also cease. When the ignorance cease, the rebirth also cease. Okay, that is the thing he understood when he attained to Buddha or Samma Sambuddha. Okay, so through the cessation of birth, he understood that death, decay, and sorrow, etc., cease. Okay, when the birth is ceased, everything is ceased. Okay, so that is mentioned in the Sanyutta Nikaya very so you can understand. According to Buddha, the sentient being is an ever changing. The everything is ever changing. Okay, there is no in the world the permanent things no in the world. Okay, so the interdependent process of mind and body. The mind and body means nama and rupa. Therefore, a permanent soul cannot exist. So in this ever-changing mind-matter combination. Okay, so now as a Buddhist, you know there are three characteristics of the world. Those are called anicca, dukkha, anatta, or the tilakkana we say. As we are Buddhists, we know the Pali words. Tilakkana, anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca means the impermanence, dukkha means suffering, and anatta means no soul. Okay, so the Buddha very clearly explained the absence of a permanent soul or entity. Okay, so is one of the three fundamental characteristics of existence. Hence, Buddhists use the term rebirth in preference of reincarnation. Okay, the word of reincarnation used by theistic religions, especially Hinduism. Okay, hence Buddhists use the term of the rebirth preference to reincarnation, as there is no transmigration of a soul. There is no transmigration of a soul. Okay, so death is just one phase of the continuous cycle of existence, linking our present life and the next, present life and the next, and is a direct result of our accumulated karma. So now you can understand very clearly through the dependent origination or paticca samuppada, you can understand very clearly so this birth process. Okay, so you can understand the Buddhist concept of rebirth differ from others in that there is no eternal soul or spirit. Okay, so when you read Issara Nimmanavada or Sassatavada, according to them, there is a eternal soul, so that spirit goes, especially like we remove our clothes and wear another cloth like that, and monkey jump from one branch to another branch like that. After we die, they take the same, they take the same thing like that. It is mentioned according to Issara Nimmana or Brahmana, the theistic religions. So the Buddha very clearly rejected this one. Okay, so I think we can lot of stories. If you read Milinda Panya, the dialogue between King Milinda and Nagasena, so the very clearly the Nagasena Thera answered very clearly to the questions raised by King Milinda about this, the rebirth, about this, about the sansara, how it happened like that. Very clearly, very clearly explained by Nagasena to Nagasena, by Venerable Nagasena to King Milinda. Okay, so dear friends, I think now you can understand the very clearly what I say. But sometimes a question arise like this: what is, if there is no permanent soul, how does one, how does one's life link to another? If there is no soul, how does one link to another life? Okay, so it is said due to, it is said to be due to the minimum of the accumulation of karma resulting. I mentioned you karma vipaka vattanti vipako karma sambhavu tasma punabhavo hoti. Evan loke pavati, like that. Rebirth is simply a continuous of this process, the karma process. Because of this karma, we are still sojourning in the samsara. So I told you, I mentioned you, there was a very nice dialogue between King Milinda and Nagasena. According to when we pay attention to this dialogue, one day the King Milinda asked from Nagasena, Bhante Nagasena, yo uppajjati, so eva, so udahu anyoti. Nagasena, from Nagasena, King Milinda asked Venerable Nagasena, he who is born, Nagasena, does he remains the same or become another? Okay, so he asked Nagasena, yo uppajjati, so eva, so udahu anyoti. So the Venerable Nagasena replied, Venerable Nagasena answer to these questions, nacha so, nacha anyo, neither same nor another. Venerable Nagasena gave an very good illustrations about very good illustrations to understand to understand this question raised by King Milind. I think that is a very the big story. Therefore, I don't like to explain I don't like to explain explain about the King Milinda, the dialogue or their discussion. But you can understand by reading Milinda Panya, because there are many questions raised by King Milinda, and Nagasena also have given very good answers to understand the meaning of the questions of the raised by King Milinda. Okay, so I would like to pay attention for a small place of small thing of that questions. Okay, the king asked, what is the reason for one person rich and powerful, but another person poor and distressed? while another person is repulsive and ugly, an idiot and blind, or deaf and dumb? Why does one person enjoy long life while another person is in the prime of his life and carried away by death? Why is this so? Why do such differences exist in nature? So the King Milinda asked such a question from Nagasena. There is a very famous discourses delivered by Buddha that is called Chullakama Vibhanga Sutta. In Chullakama Vibhanga Sutta, also Buddha very clearly explained to one of the Manavaka, Subha Manavaka, the Manavaka is called the householder named Subha Manavaka, also asked such kind of questions. Nearly 14 questions he raised to the Buddha, the same questions raised by King Milinda to Nagasena. So the Buddha very clearly explained, the Buddha very clearly analyzed that question. So the Buddha mentioned Kammasaka, Manava Satta, Kamma Dayada, Kamma Yoni, Kamma Bandhu, Kamma Patisarana. Kammang Sattva Vibhajati Yadidang Hina Panitati. So it is a necessary purpose of thinking that the good and bad destiny of a being and as well as its latent character cannot be the product of mere chance, but must of necessity have its cause in a previous birth. So because of the previous actions, you will be born in the happy state. Because of your the actions, you will be born in unhappy states like that. So everything decided by karma. Not everything decided by karma, but most of the things as a result of karma. Okay, so according to this idea, so you can understand. So you can understand there is no organic entity. There is no organic entity or physical or psychical and can come into existence without a previous cause. Because of previous cause, previous actions, we will be born and born again and again. Now I think you can understand the idea of rebirth is not a myth, it is a fact, it is real. So the Buddha wanted to preach, wanted to make understand to people so this idea. So that is why Buddha, 45 years tried to delivering discourses, delivering Dhamma. He wanted to make understand, but the in one places, so the Buddha mentioned kammarasa karako natti vipakassa cha vedako. So you can understand there is no doer of the deeds is found, and no one who ever reaps their fruits like that. The meaning of this is everything is impermanent, everything is changing. Okay, so there is a process, but it is a process of changing. It is a process of changing. Something is there, but everything is changing, everything is impermanent. Therefore there is no eternal thing, everything there is no eternal thing, there is no atma, but the rebirth is there until we achieve nibbana. So we have to sojourn in the sansara. We will be born again and again, we will die again and again. So you can understand there is rebirth. Rebirth means after the death we will be born in happy state or unhappy state according to our good action or bad action. That is the teaching of the Buddha. I think now you can understand the very clearly. So I don't like to continue further my preaching, the Dhamma, further my Dhamma talk. I would like to wind up my Dhamma talk. Now, if there is any question, now you can ask.
Thank you, Bante, for sharing us the Dharma session tonight. For tonight, we only have one questions.
Yes.
So, we have a audience asking. She's worried about where will she go as she gets older. I do not know the ability to enter Aryan path. Can Bante give advice on how to cope and live a good life so that when I die, I can reborn in a good condition? Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't about where we'll go as I get old. No, I don't have the ability to enter the Aryan path. Okay, that is not the problem. Okay, so there is a very famous sutta delivered by Buddha, Mangala Sutta. Okay, in this time, I don't like to explain to you your question. Please read Mangala Sutta. In Mangala Sutta, Buddha very clearly mentioned how as a householder, okay, how as a householder plan your life, okay, from birth to at the end of the life, from beginning to at the end of the this life. Okay, so the Buddha has very clearly explained how householder plan your life. Then you can understand after your old age where you go, how you practice your Aryan path or the middle path, how you practice. It is very clearly mentioned. Okay, please read Mahamangala Sutta with the meaning. Then you can understand your question by yourself.
Thank you, Pante. Pante, I have a personal questions.
Yes.
So recently, I have a relative who passed away, and I noticed that actually she's my aunt. So I noticed that when um she kind of filled with anger and unhappiness as she could not accept her death. So before she died, she suffered physically, and she is so worried about all of us because we are all her close relatives, and she couldn't accept the fact that she's have to go off very soon. So what is the advice of Pante? I mean, will she have a bad rebirth when because she doesn't really want to go off in a very peaceful way.
Yes, I actually normally when one is close to die, actually it is better not to cry. Okay, some people we are very close to our relatives. Okay, one day King Kosala went to meet the Buddha. Okay, so you can understand the very first stanza delivered at the very beginning of this sermon. Before I start to this Dhamma sermon, I delivered one stanza. So this stanza delivered by Buddha King to King Kosala because he went to meet the Buddha. He said, "Venerable Sir, my grandma was dead. My grandma was dead. Because of her death, I am very unhappy. I am suffering. I am crying. Why? Whenever, sir, I know everything is impermanent. Everything is impermanent. Everyone will die. Everyone die. This is also I know. But after her death, I am so unhappy. I am crying because I was very close to her. She loved me a lot. I also loved her a lot. I also loved her a lot. Therefore, I am crying. My mind is very unhappy. Like that, so the King Kosala informed to the Buddha. So at that time, so the Buddha delivered, Sabbe Satta Marisanti, everyone will die. Maranantangi Jivitan, this life will end by the death, like that. So the Buddha mentioned. Okay. Actually, it is not good to lament or cry when one person is close to death the because of affection he also very attached to this life. He was also very she also very attached to her relatives also. Therefore it is better not to cry or lament when one is close to death. But we can't say after her death what will happen, where she went, because everything happened according to the moment of the death. Everything happened according to the moment of the death. And the rebirth linking also, that process also, that is called patisandhi vinyana. The rebirth linking also arise at the moment of the death, mind of the at that time. Okay, therefore we can't say where she went because we don't have such kind of knowledge. We don't have the Bachakku, divine eyes. We don't have Chutupapata Jnana, the person die and birth. That knowledge we don't have. Therefore, we can't say where she went. Okay. uh, but we know if she have had done, if she had accumulated good actions, good karma, he can be born in the happy states. But we can't understand where she went. That is why after someone die, after the death of someone, we do meritorious actions. We offer dana, we do a lot of meritorious actions, and we transfer merits for them. If they are in misery places, misery planets, they will be free from those places. If they are in happy planets, happy places, and they increase their happiness like that, we meritorious deeds and transfer merits for them. If they are in unhappy, they will be happy. If they are happy states and they increase their happiness like that, we do some meritorious actions. But we can't say where they went.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Bante, for answering all the questions. Now let's invite Bante to conduct Anumodana.
Okay, today actually it's very good day. Fortunately, without power, I had to give this Dhamma talk, and my laptop battery also very low now, and my phone also battery very low. I gave this Dhamma talk with the light of my handphone, and fortunately we had the power of my Wi-Fi charger. I think you listen a very good Dhamma talk. I think very good topic this is. I think I try my best to give to explain this topic. So by listening this Dhamma talk and by giving the chance to listen the Dhammas to others, you practice two meritorious actions. Two meritorious actions. Listening Dhamma and giving chance to listening Dhammas to others. So you accumulate a lot of merits. So first of all, we transfer these merits to our departed ones, and and the devas, those who protect us. So they will be happy if they are in misery places. They will be free from those places. If they are in happy, they will increase their happiness. And at the end of this samsara, we wish them to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. And so this good actions, this karma goes to especially to our Venerable Nayaka Thero of Buddhist Mahavihara and organizing committee, especially Mr. Leslie and Ms. Gai, and all the organizing committees, so and all the relatives and all the members of your house. So we'll go, we transfer these merits, and they can rejoice by these merits, and we can have a very good life, because we are still experiencing the very bad pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. Still, we are experiencing this. Therefore, we have to do all these things by online. I think so. Everyone have a healthy, wealthy life. Healthy, wealthy life. Everyone should have. So, after successing this life, we will be born in the very good, happy place, and at the end of this samsara, so we wish we all together have the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Thank you very much. I would like to wish you, may every blessings come to be, and all good spirits guard you well. Through the power of all Buddhas, and through the power of all Dhammas, through the power of all sanghas, may you always be at ease. Sabbi vivajjantu, sabba rogo vinassatu, mate bhavatantarayo sukhi dighaiko bhava, bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata, sabba buddhanubhavena, sabba dhammanubhavena, sabba sanghanubhavena, sada sotti bhavantu te. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bante, again. On behalf of the monk and management of Mahavihara, we would like to thank Bante so much for, despite all the power failure and all the difficulties, we are so fortunate to have Bante tonight to share his Dharma knowledge with us. We would also like to express our gratitude to all our sponsors for their kind donations, and all our audience here for bearing it with us and joining us tonight. Good night, everybody, and have a pleasant evening. Suki Hontu. Thank you, Pante.
Good night. Thank you. Wan Chang Hao.